Ciao everyone, this is Nate on the Stone. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be talking about people who want to control religion, for lack of a better word, and why that gets religion exactly backwards. But before we dive into all that, just as a reminder that if you like videos about the culture, politics, and religion from a different point of view, then don't forget to give the video a like and to subscribe to the channel. So yeah, the tagline for my channel is the culture, politics, and religion from a different POV. But after about 20 videos, I haven't actually talked about religion. And I think that it's about time that I corrected that error. And what better way than with this story that made the rounds a few weeks ago, but which was very quickly forgotten in light of all the other news stories that were coming at us at that same time. The story in question was that the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, announced that the Church of England would no longer be using traditional masculine language to describe God, words like he, him, and father. The Archbishop's reasoning for this decision was that language is metaphorical, and so it can't really describe the nature of God adequately. Language always ends up anthropomorphizing God, making him something that he really isn't. And so the church was just going to stop using traditional masculine language to describe God cold turkey. Now the crazy thing is that the Archbishop isn't entirely wrong in his assertion. When we talk about God like Orthodox Christians, Jews, and Muslims understand him, God is a pure spirit, which means that he's neither male nor female, because maleness and femaleness are biological categories that spirits bypass entirely. So yeah, the Archbishop is right. Language, to a degree, is always metaphorical when it's talking about God. But at the same time, Christians understand that masculine language for God is not inappropriate because that's what Jesus uses to describe God in the Bible. If you go through the Bible, you won't find God referred to as a mother or as a female entity at all. It is true that sometimes a female analogy will be used to describe God or a characteristic of God, like when Jesus says God looks after his children like a mother hen looks after her chicks. But that's just what it is. It's an analogy. It's not a name, and it's not a reflection on the nature of God himself. And this is true for Judaism and Islam too, where God is seen as masculine or described as masculine. Language is metaphorical to an extent when we talk about God because language acts like a shield between God and people, so that people can have an idea of God without having their brains fried, which doesn't do much for recruitment efforts.
Enough!
Yeah, like that. But even more importantly, the name Father does something much more vital. It reminds Christians that their God is a personal God. The God of Christianity, the God of Judaism, and the God of Islam, he's not some sort of impersonal force way off in the vastness of space, like Aristotle's first mover or the watchmaker God of the deists. He's a personal God who intimately cares for all of his creations. That's one of the things that unites the three Abrahamic faiths and which separates them from a lot of other religions from the world's history. Now, this video is not a defense of the Christian understanding of the fatherhood of God, and it's not a defense of using masculine language to describe God. That might seem surprising given everything that I've said up to this point, but it's true, and I will repeat it. This is not a defense of the Christian understanding of God, and it's not a defense of the masculine understanding of God in Judaism or Islam either. Instead, I wanted to make a different point, that we can't just arbitrarily change a religion because we don't particularly like a particular teaching or point of the religion, and we can't change it because we want it to be in agreement with a particular fashion or fad of our time. Becoming part of a religion, any religion, not just Christianity, should be a very humbling experience for a person. Now, I know that humility isn't a word that's used a lot these days. We usually say that we join something because it fulfills us or it speaks to us. But when we join a religion, for the most part, we are attaching ourselves to something that is far older than we are, and therefore, hopefully, much wiser than we are. Take Christianity just as an example. It's been around for 2,000 years, which means that it has 2,000 years of experiences to draw upon. It has, as part of its lineup in DNA, great and brilliant thinkers like Augustine and Aquinas, Martin Luther, John Calvin, Jonathan Edwards, Anselm, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, C.S. Lewis, and, as the ace up the sleeve, it was started by God himself, according to Christians. The very fact of joining a religion, again, not necessarily Christianity, is an admission of hope on our part at some level. Hope that the thing that we're joining is wiser than us. Because if we honestly believed that we had all the answers to life and to the universe, there wouldn't be a point in attaching ourselves to something that was so much older than we are. But when you join something that you believe, again on some level, to be wiser than you can't just arbitrarily change things in that religion or that system. Because if you do, what you're implicitly saying is that you or the current times are smarter than that religion, which defeats the whole purpose of becoming part of something that was wiser than you. Some people might get upset at this point and say that, well, that's a limitation of their freedom. But the uncomfortable truth is that any religion you join is going to put limits on your freedom. And that's not just true for religion. That's true about anything you join, any club, any association, any organization. It's going to put parameters around your freedom. Case in point, when I was a kid, I was part of the Boy Scouts of America, which meant that I was expected to live by the Scout oath and the Scout law. And if I didn't, I was going to get into trouble. When I went to college, there were rules that incoming freshmen were expected to follow because we were incoming freshmen. We were the new kids on the block. We were wet behind the ears. We were newbies. And if we didn't follow those rules, we were going to get in trouble. Even the old cliched restaurant sign, no shirt, no shoes, no service, is a limitation of our freedom because it means that if we want to eat there, we can't go prancing in like we're part of a Swedish nudist colony. The point is, no matter what we join, whether it's a religion or a company or a club or an organization or an association, there are going to be rules that we're expected to follow if we want to remain part of that group, and which is going to put limitations of some sort on our freedom. This doesn't mean that religions can't change organically. Of course they can. They have in the past and they will continue to do so. But organic changes refer to first principles, things that have always been in the religion. Arbitrary change, on the other hand, is sudden and swift. It's an attempt to change a religion into what we personally would want or what we think the modern times want the religion to be. If there is something in a religion or in our religion that we don't like, there are really only two options that we have. One, we can accept it after critical thinking and contemplation, or two, we can leave and find a new religion. But we can't have it both ways. We can't be a part of something and at the same time try and make it into a mirror image of what we think it should be like. If everyone tried to change their religion to reflect themselves, then religion wouldn't have any intrinsic value, because it would be a hollow husk that meant absolutely nothing, because it could potentially mean anything. The important thing is commitment, having the loyalty and faithfulness to something that we believe is bigger than ourselves, something that's good, something that gives our lives meaning, or which gives it more meaning. Because the truth is, if we don't have something bigger than ourselves, then by default, we're going to make ourselves the center of our own little universes. And speaking from personal experience, if I was the absolute center of my own private little universe, that universe would be pretty poor and pretty small. But what say you? Should religion be treated with humility, or is it something that's elastic, that's meant to incorporate our wants and our desires? As always, I'm interested to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. That wraps up things for right now, gang. As always, if you liked this video, whether you agree with me or not, then don't forget to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell for notifications, because I put new videos up like this every Tuesday, and you won't want to miss them. Thank you as always again for watching, and I will see you all again here next week on Top of the Stone. Ciao.